Hey guys, assalamu alaikum. A while since I've made a video. I'm pretty sure it was Ramadan when I last made a video. And yeah, I have not made one for a while now for several reasons. One, because the next video I wanted to make was I really wanted to talk about my revert story, my journey to Islam, and honestly I've just kind of been putting that off for as long as possible. Kind of procrastinating that because I didn't really know how I wanted to tell that story. I didn't really know what all I wanted to share, because I think a lot of reverts will agree, and a lot of even born Muslims who kind of stray away from Islam and then come back to it later on will agree that it's very personal. It's a very personal journey. So I'm probably going to leave out some details just because this is the internet and it is a personal story. And it involves, you know, who I used to be before I was Muslim. But I also, I want to share it. I think it can be helpful. And at the end of the day, you know, we're all humans and, you know, we make mistakes, and the only opinion that truly matters is Allah's opinion. And I'm honestly very grateful for everything I've went through and everything I've experienced in my life that has brought me to where I am today, to being this Muslim, this clear-headed, guided Muslim that I am, and I'm very grateful for that. And the other reason why I haven't made a video in a while is because life has just been very overwhelming, not only with everything going around outside in the world, and you know, that's the most important thing, is what's been going on in the world. It's been overwhelming, it's been sad, it's been disheartening, and I can speak for a lot of Americans here. It's finally good to see that we're getting a lot of coverage on Palestine, and not just Palestine, but all over the world. And a lot of people just don't know what's going on, and it's been overwhelming in the world around us. And so then to go into like my own personal problems, it just feels so small and so stupid. And I know that these are small insignificant problems, but I'm overwhelmed in my own personal life as well. I'm currently getting my master's degree. I'm a student at university, and so I went from, you know, being at school and having my own apartment, my own job, my own classes, living my own little life. And it's so much easier to be Muslim and just comfortable and just happy and just, you know, ecstatic when I'm there living my life in my own little, you know, Muslim bubble. But now I'm home for the summer, and I'm basically in the environment that I grew up in. And so I'm consistently being reminded of who I was before I was Muslim. I'm consistently, you know, just submerged in the life I used to be living. I mean, my family drinks, like, and I'm realizing now just like how normalized drinking is when you don't drink. You know, it's summertime. I'm the one who's dressing differently now. Like, I'm not really swimming with everybody. You know, there's just a lot of activities that involve drinking and swimsuits, and you know, life is just different. So I've been adjusting to being Muslim in my home environment, being a Muslim in my culture that I've grown up in, being around people who have only known me as somebody who's not Muslim. So it's just been very overwhelming, and I'm smiling right now, but it has been tough. I've been consistently being tested with, you know, just everything. And it's been difficult, but I do believe at the end of the day, this is being thrown on me because Allah wants me to turn to Him. Allah wants me to trust Him. Allah wants me to grow through this, and I do think it'll make me a stronger, better Muslim at the end of the day. There have been some hard parts, but there have been some times where I'm just consistently reminded, this is it, this is worth it, and I'm gonna get through this, and this is, you know, a temporary feeling. This is a temporary adjustment. But yeah, it's been overwhelming. Yeah, and then on the other hand, like, most of my friends, like my closest friends, are living in different areas now. They're living in different states, they're different towns, so I don't see them that often. And then I have one good Muslim friend. I don't know any other Muslims at all. So I've been completely just like doing this by myself. Like, it's just me becoming a Muslim surrounded by my culture that isn't Muslim, and then they ask me questions, and there's this and that, and I want to be, and I shouldn't even say this, I was about to say I want to be more surrounded by Islam, but technically I'm constantly always surrounded by Islam. It's everything. It's everything. And so I need to find God everywhere I look. And so I'm just working on these things right now. And yeah, it's just been tough. It's tough. And then I also feel like I don't really fit in with my family and my friends anymore. And then at the same time, I feel like I don't fit in with Muslims, and I'm going to the masjid and I just feel very like alone, like I'm going alone. I'm not really talking to anybody. I leave, and it's been an adjustment, but inshallah, I'll get through it. And this is just one of those things I'm supposed to go through. But anyway, so today I kind of wanted to share my overall Revert story, and I'm going to leave out some details, but I will kind of discuss the overall gist. So I have spent a lot of my life feeling like a black sheep, just feeling like, what is of all of this? Like, what is the point of this human created structure that we all have to follow? Like, what's the point? And so I grew up just kind of feeling like lost, but reflective. I was always a really reflective person. I mean, I did not like high school at all. I was one of those people who just hated high school. It wasn't for me. And I'd spend a lot of my nights just sitting outside, looking at the sky, looking at the moon, talking to God. I've grown up in a Christian family. And I kind of saw Christianity as like the formal explanation behind our beliefs, because for me personally, I just always had this innate feeling in God, and that was my belief, was we have God and we have a relationship with him. We're here to talk to him. And but I never fully understood a lot of things about Christianity, and like I didn't see Jesus and God as the same person. I always felt weird personally praying to Jesus. I'm like, why would I be like, hey Jesus, when I could be like, hey God? I don't know. There's just a lot of things that didn't quite make sense for me, but I, accepted Christianity as the overall formal title for my beliefs. So going into high school, I started to make some not so good decisions. I just started really questioning everything around me. It didn't really make sense. I started drinking. I would smoke here and there. And so I started drinking to just kind of, for me, like calm my anxiety. I was absolutely convinced I had social anxiety, and I took antidepressants, and and it's funny, I actually, since becoming Muslim, I don't take any antidepressants anymore. And I do think for a lot of people it's helpful, it's beneficial, and I think that they should be taking them. But for me personally, as soon as I became Muslim and I had that clarity and that confidence, and I feel that close relationship with Allah, I truly have not needed to take antidepressants. And currently the only thing I take right now is a vitamin D pill, because apparently I have a vitamin D deficiency, and it's probably not going to get better anytime soon, but hopefully the supplements will help. Basically, I made some art and stuff throughout high school, and of course the good pieces I have are at school, but I've got this right here, and this is it's an okay piece. But anyway, it's got the overall message, and it's just, we're all just these people being told to follow this way, and it's like we're blindfolded, we're deaf, we're just going into this dark cloud. Like, we don't know what we're doing. We're just following where everybody else is telling us to go. And then I have another piece that I really like, and I'll probably insert a picture of it if I can. Basically, it's just like being fed information and knowledge and truth through the media and society, rather than focusing on what's real and what's true. And for me personally, I was always one of those people who just loved to be out in nature. I love to look at the stars. I love to be consistently reminded of just how small I am and how big and magical and beautiful our world is. And it just would always calm me. It would always help my anxiety. And it just always made me feel like, I'm connected to what's real and what's true. So going off to college, I, was partying. I was a partier, I would say, and I was going out and hanging out, and that was just kind of, the life I was living. I was living for the weekend, living to go out with friends, living to party it up. And unfortunately, I think that's the mindset of so many people, is we're just living for Friday. We're just living to like drink on Friday. We're just like trying to get through the week so we can relax. But at the same time, I always questioned that. I was like, what's the point of this? We just grow up as adults and we start drinking, and that's what life becomes now, is like we're just waiting to drink again. And like I would be drinking on the holidays and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, what's the point of this? And I'd wake up the next day after drinking and I'd be like, what did I get out of that? Nothing. And so I always knew in my head I wanted to be an adult that doesn't drink. Like, I just knew that like something was telling me to not drink anymore and that I needed to live my life sober so I could take everything in. And another thing I had observed in my life was that the best moments I've had, the moments where I felt the most alive, the moments where I felt completely at peace, connected, and grateful to be alive and that the world around me is beautiful, I was sober during those moments. And so it just hit me that for me to grow and learn and become better and more mindful, I want to be a sober person. And I also always knew too that like I needed to become closer to God, that it was just a matter of time before I become closer to God. I believed in God, but I was never really praying or talking to him, of course, unless I, was in trouble or I had a need but I always knew he was there, and I always knew it was a matter of time before I had to turn back to him and get close with him, because I just knew like he's real, he's there, regardless of the decisions I was making, which it's funny, looking back now, I'm like, how could I be so stupid? Like, you believe in God, you know he's there, but like, why are you making all these bad choices? But I knew he was there, and I knew it was a matter of time before I turned to him. So now shifting to becoming a Muslim. So I had met a Muslim in college. They were a foreign exchange student, and they just lived life very differently. Like, their personality was just different from other people's that I met. And so there was a lot of things that they would talk about with Islam, and they just, there seemed a lot to be more mindful about a lot of things. And those things just kind of like stuck with me. And I was very intrigued and very interested. And so I truly feel like at this point, Allah was just kind of like throwing these signs at me, like, hey, here's this information, here's this. So in simplest terms, and the way I'll put it, that's probably the least personal and the least embarrassing, because honestly, I don't really want to go into details and share that much. And it's, it was a hard thing for me to go through. It was really hard, but I got attached to something that I shouldn't have gotten attached to. And it's funny because my brain, looking back, would see these signs and these reasons for me to not get attached to this thing, but I just ignored it because I believed that this thing was in my life. I got attached to something I shouldn't have gotten attached to. And then that thing went away. Very unexpectedly. And I had the basis for Islam. I had ordered a Quran at this point, and I knew in my heart that I was going on a path towards Islam. And I truly can't explain it, but I even had an acquaintance who's now my good friend. I had an acquaintance throughout school, and she actually reverted to Islam. And I remember looking at pictures of her, and it hit me, this is going to be me one day. Like, modesty is beautiful. Like, this feels right. And so I went through this hardship where this thing that I got attached to went away. And it was very hard at the time, but I truly now see it as probably the biggest blessing that I've ever gone through, that Allah picked me to go through this so that I could become close to him and I could trust him, because that's what I did immediately. As soon as this hardship hit me, I haven't drank since. I've been sober since, and I knew right away that I'm not going to numb any of this. I'm going to feel this, and I'm going to work this out. I'm going to learn from this, and I'm going to start praying. And I had the Quran in my hands, and I just knew that this was the path I had to take, that this was what was set up for me. Allah was setting me up for this hardship so that when it happened, I could turn to him. And like, talking about that and putting that into words right now is making me emotional, because it's just so true. How just all meant to be it was, and Allah was setting down those stepping stones so that I could be prepared to go through this. And so I knew right away that I was going to that I was going to do this, that this is what I was meant to be doing. So I started reading the Quran, and I wasn't just reading the Quran. I mean, I was having like a spiritual connection, a spiritual journey with this Quran, and it was speaking to me. And I just like knew maybe like a fifth of the way through, like, this is it. This is the truth. I cannot go back. I cannot deny what I've just read. Like, it was speaking to my soul. Like, this is it. You're reading the truth. You're reading God's word right now. And he was guiding me through it all. I mean, I've mentioned this before in a past video, but this experience was like nothing I have ever experienced in my entire life. I felt truly guided. I felt truly clear-headed. And I felt like Allah was literally holding my hand through this. I learned how to pray on my own. I was doing this all by myself in my little apartment, and it's honestly amazing because somehow I was also getting like super good grades at the same time. But like, I don't know, Allah was just literally getting me through this, and I was learning, and I was reading the Quran, and learning to pray. And I think there was a comment in the past, and it was like, if you feel like you're become a Muslim, or if you feel like you've been forgiven when you say the Shahada by yourself or in front of people. And I truly think that you become Muslim and you feel fully forgiven when Allah feels that you're a Muslim and he sees that you're a Muslim in your heart. For me personally, taking the Shahada in front of people in the masjid, I'm so glad I did that because I wanted that experience. But that felt more like an announcement, more like a formality, like a, hey guys, I'm Muslim. But I personally became Muslim 6 months before then, last November, when I was crying on the floor in my apartment to Allah, and it just hit me that I was a brand new person and I was literally forgiven for everything. Like, I felt that. Like, I can honestly tell you, I felt that. I felt pure. I felt brand new. I felt like Allah had purified me. I can't even put that into words. And I was just sobbing, like that, like to feel his love, that he's here, he's listening to me, he brought me here, he did this for me, and I'm forgiven, and I'm brand new. I can't put that into words at all. I can't. And I just had so much hope and so much happiness and so much, you know, thankfulness to have lived the life I did and to be where I am now, to have gone through what I went through, for what felt to be a hardship to be such this blessing, this igniter to bring me to where I am now. Because I can truly say, before Islam, I was lost. You know, I was living for the weekend. I didn't know where I was going. I was comparing myself to others, living my life like how they were living theirs, because I thought that's where I was gaining my truth and knowledge from. I knew God was there, but I just wasn't fully connected to him. And for him to like see the good in me and to decide I'm gonna bring her to Islam, like, it just touches my soul. And it truly amazes me. For him to have picked me and to have walked me through it. And people have, you know, asked me, like, how did you become a Muslim? How did you learn how to pray? Like, who taught you that? Who was teaching you about Islam? Allah was. God literally walked me through all of it. I did it by myself with him. And it was truly the most amazingly beautiful, best thing that's ever happened to me. And ever since then, you know, I've just been reading the Quran more, trying to learn the best that I can. And, you know, now it's been harder because, you know, I've had that time of becoming a Muslim and now I'm adjusting to my real life. And again, I only know one Muslim in person. So it's been difficult, but I wouldn't change anything at all because I'm just so grateful to be where I am. And, yeah, it was just a very crazy experience, designed by Allah to trust in him, to bring me where I am, to give me the strength I have, the clarity I have, and I've learned so much. I have learned so much through what I went through. So that's really all I can put into words. And, you know, I still have my struggles. I still have things I'm working on. And every single day I'm trying to become better, to make better choices. But it is a process. I've been Muslim for almost 8 months now. And I was just nervous to tell this story because I didn't know how to tell it. It's a long story and there's a lot of details. But that's, in a nutshell, my journey. And I'm just so grateful because I think a lot of times you have to go through hard moments designed by Allah for you to truly trust him. I think a lot of times in hardship you can either resent God and be angry, or you can be thankful because he's bringing you close to him through this. And me being home now, me struggling, you know, meshing with my family, being a Muslim in this environment, I see it again as a blessing to make me stronger, to make me a stronger Muslim, to become better, to grow through this. And I think that's honestly the outlook that we all should strive for. I think that's what Allah wants from us, is to take these things as opportunities to grow, to become better. And I just, you know, when you go through a hardship, try to think, what does Allah want me to learn from this? What can I take away from this experience? And I think a lot of times when he takes things away from us, when hardships happen, these are just blessings from other hurt, other issues, and he's giving us new perspectives. And I'm just very grateful. I'm very grateful for my journey, and very thankful. And alhamdulillah, I'm just so blessed to be Muslim, and I literally can't tell you what it feels like. And I'm sure a lot of you can probably relate, to just be sobbing on the floor, to feel purified, brand new, and to feel so grateful that Allah chose you. Like that moment of just like absolute connectedness and like truth, and like, wow, he's giving me like this truth. I can't explain it. So I'm so grateful, and I hope you all are doing well, and I wish you all the best. And you know, if you are being called to Islam, I'm not going to tell you it's easy, because, you know, there will be times of obviously high iman, high spirituality, high faith, where Islam is so easy, and it's just like, yes, like, why am I not always this? But then there's always going to be those drops too, and especially if you are from a culture that is very non-Muslim, it'll be hard, but it's all just to make us stronger and better. And I do feel grateful to be able to be a Muslim in a family group that is non-Muslim, that now I can, you know, as I've said in the past, I have family members now, and I have friends now that know a Muslim person, and I feel very honored to be in that position. So overall, that is my story. That is my journey to Islam. You know, it just really started sticking to me, and it's so funny. It wasn't even like, like that seems interesting. It was like a magnet. Like I was slowly learning about these things, and I just knew I was learning about the truth of the world. I was learning about the path I was going to be taken. I mean, once you're on that Islam train, you don't really turn around. There's no going back. And, you know, sometimes you'd have doubts about things, or you'd be like, well, I'm not sure about this. And then you do research and you hear people talk about it, and you're like, ah, that makes sense. So I'm just so grateful to be where I'm at. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you all are enjoying your summer. And I wish you all the best. Thank you guys. If you listen to this video and watch this video, thank you.